All right, before we get to our last game, which is UCLA, Texas, if you want to get free plays sent to your cell phone via text every day, just go to jimfeist.com, top right-hand corner. You'll see daily free plays. You just fill it in, and it's going to be text winner to 313131. You get free plays every day from Jim Feist. Also, if you want to make sure you sign up for Jim's Feist YouTube page, it's called Sports Betting. How do you do it? You just click on the link right above us. It's free. You'll get Jim's updates on daily team previews, free picks, pro line, all direct from Las Vegas, and it's free. All right, let's get into our final game here. It's a UCLA Texas game going to be played at Cowboy Stadium, and it's a matchup that, a few weeks ago we would look at and say, well, this is going to be a matchup, a marquee type TV clash, because you got Charlie Strong coming in with his defensive expertise taking over Texas. Boy, these Longhorns have been shaky early on. They got problems with the quarterback situation.
Shaky?
Yeah, major. They're down to their backup quarterback already. The Ash had missed 9 games last year with a concussion. That has already been a problem. A couple of offensive linemen suspended. They come off the loss to BYU, a shellacking 41-7. So, Sean, odds makers and the public really can't be giving this Texas team any kind of a respect after that 41-7 shellacking last week, can they?
The thing about it is the line on that game that you're talking about last week was generally either team was favored by 1, maybe pick 'em, so it would look like it being a competitive game, but it was obviously a whitewashing job. I got the line as UCLA 8. It opened at 7 versus Texas. This is an 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. It'll be on Fox TV. It is at a neutral site, the Jerry Jones thing over there in Arlington Stadium in Texas. And like you said, Texas humiliated at home last week by BYU. They were down just 6-0 in the first half and just fell apart. In fact, got outscored by 28 points in the second half, especially the third quarter, being outscored by 28-7. So the game was way out of reach. But UCLA, no great shakes either. They're 2-0 straight up at 0-2 against the bookie. They squeaked by Memphis at home, of all places, 42-35. They did that as a home favorite at 22. They do have a bye coming up, so they ought to be focused here. Then they travel to Arizona State in 2 weeks on September the 25th. That's a conference game. That would be important. But not an important game, I don't think, as much for UCLA as it is for Texas. Every game important to head coach Charlie Strong, probably for a whole lot of reasons that don't have a lot to do with football, but I'm not going to get into that. I'll let the social media handle that. He's a no-nonsense coach. He's already gotten rid of some troublemakers. I think it's kind of a rebuilding thing for Texas. We're talking Texas' storied program going all the way back to 1957 when they hired Darrell Royal, and then every coach after that. This is a team that either wins the national championship or is at least in the running for it. And now they're struggling, which is one of the reasons why I guess they brought Charlie Strong in. So I like him as a coach, and I think the team has some potential, but not this year. I have a friend who goes to these Austin practices every time they do it, and he tells me that this quarterback, Swoops, is that his name, is terrible. Terrible passer. Even in scrimmages when he has the red shirt, nobody can hit him. And I'm going to say David Ash is probably going to be out for a while, the starter with, a brain concussion? Yeah, concussion of some kind. So it's a lot of points to lay with a team that hasn't covered the number yet, especially on the road. But if I had to do it, I just can't take Texas at all. I can't make a case for them on either side of the football, even though I like their coach. And I think at some point he will get something done, but I just don't see it this year.
Yeah, Swoops did complete 20 of 31 passes in last week's game. However, only 176 yards, so they were all short. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jeff, this UCLA team really loaded. Undefeated on the year, oddly 0-2 against the spread. Last year, they were a cover machine, 9-4 against the spread, but they're really loaded. 7 starters back on offense, 8 on defense. The 2 games they played, they had a long 3,000-mile road trip to Virginia. 28-20 win. They actually got outgained. A couple of turnovers on offense. They weren't in sync, and that's not surprising, taking that long a road trip. However, last week, they were coming home, playing a Memphis team that was on that 3,000-mile road trip, and it was 35-35 in the fourth quarter, so they didn't cover again, 42-35, had plenty of yards, 540, but they gave up 469, including 164 yards rushing. So, is this UCLA team a top 10 team, or should we be looking at the defense as being a weakness of sorts?
Well, it looks like they were definitely overrated to begin with, but that doesn't mean that by the end of the season they won't be as good as advertised. least they're learning how to win close games. That's one good thing. The problems so far are very correctable. The tackling has been pretty bad. On offense, they've had about 15 drop passes in the 2 games, and their star quarterback, Brett Hundley, has been sacked 9 times. Those are the kind of things that they have to work on, but they do have the talent, so maybe by the end of the year they'll be a top 10 team. Also this week, linebacker Miles Jack, who's one of the top players who last year helped out a running back, he's questionable with an ankle injury. As far as Texas goes, Charlie Strong came in, and he's a good coach, and he's a disciplinarian. But when you start kicking players off the team, that's okay, but they're troublemakers. But then again, when it starts playing the games, you find out you don't have enough talent to compete. That's pretty much what we have here at Texas. The offensive line is inexperienced and total disarray, which didn't help Tyrone Swoops at all because he had a play behind it. But he did throw for 176 yards. And as I'm sure the Longhorns aren't as bad as it looked on Saturday because, as Sean said, it was only 6-0 at halftime. But the 4 turnovers were too much to overcome. Sometimes when teams get totally humiliated, they come back with a good game next week. But if they don't have the talent to do it, it doesn't make much difference. So it's hard to lay 7.5 with UCLA on the road after the way they looked the first 2 games. I would lean toward the over in this game, John.
Okay, well, I'll side with UCLA in this one because, I always remember a thing I went to in Vegas when the Bears and the Colts were playing in the Super Bowl. It was a conference of handicappers, a luncheon that went on for several hours. And basically everybody around the table went into their dissertation of why the Colts were going to win or where the betting edge was. And everyone went on and on for quite a while, except one guy. They came to one guy at the table, and he said, look, I'm going to be 5 seconds analyzing this Super Bowl. Grossman against Peyton Manning. That's it. Colts are going to kill him. And I never forgot that because it was simple, it was obvious, and it was and he was right. The Colts absolutely steamrolled the game. So I'm going to use that same logic in this game. Hundley against Swoops. Hundley is just outstanding. He's been there for quite a while, and he's polished. And you're going up against Swoops, who was really struggled last week. And it is tough to lay points on the road, but I think this UCLA offense is for real and super. And the way the Texas defense is playing, I'm not sure they're going to keep up. So I will back UCLA in this one. And also keep this in mind, Rivals.com, they rank the 39 Texas kids that are 4-star recruits in high school going into college or better. And, for 2015, Texas A&M has signed 12 of those with Kevin Sumlin. Longhorns only 2. So this Charlie Strong may turn this program around, but it's not going to be this year. It's going to take a while as they get some of the better Texas recruits, which is so key. And when Texas is at home playing a team with a winning record, 4-11 against the spread. All right, let's tell everybody what we have going on as well as some best bets. I'm going to start with the Houston Cougars as the big underdog on Thursday. I'll come out early to try and make up for Ohio State. We'll know very early. And Jeff, you're on that red hot run in baseball. Plus, you got some more football games available for this weekend. How can folks get aboard with LVSS?
Yeah, I'll go with UCLA and Texas over for my best bet. You want to go to jimfice.com, click on LVSS. You're going to get baseball, college football, NFL every day. This week we're going to have a 3-game package for $39 in college football. Just go to jimfice.com and click on LVSS.
Okay, and make sure you check out jimfice.com. Jim off that 9-5 run on Saturday in college football. Perfect 2-0 with games of the month. Another one is available this weekend. His shocker game of the month. You can find those plays and more at jimfice.com. We will see you next week with another edition of the college football version of Pro Line.